Okay, welcome back, and now we're going to do another example of finding the equation of a tangent line at a point. So this here is an equation. The curve of this equation is actually called a folium. It's actually from Latin for leaf, and it's actually named that way after René Descartes, the famous mathematician philosopher. Again, you should have seen some of these kind of folium curves from pre-calculus or some advanced algebra. Okay, but you'll be dealing with some more of these. But we don't even need the curve in order to do this problem. Okay, or I mean the graph of the curve. Okay, so now we want the equation of the tangent line. So again, we're going to have to find the slope. Now, notice that this is defined implicitly in terms of x and y. So this is implicit. This is an implicit equation, okay? And there's no way we can separate the y's and the x's to write this in an explicit form. If we could, that'd be a lot easier. So we're going to have to do implicit differentiation here. So I know the slope is going to equal to dy dx, okay? So I'm going to have to implicitly differentiate this and then solve for dy dx. So now let's do that. So this again is in terms of y, so it's going to be the chain rule. So it's going to be 3y squared and then times dy dx, because the inside function is y. Plus, now this is in terms of x, so we can just differentiate that explicitly because it's going to be just 3x squared. Minus, now here I've got x and y together. This is a product, so I'm going to have to use the product rule here, okay? Because I've got this function here times this unknown function. So let's do it. So it's going to be the derivative of the first, so that'll be 3, times the second, which is y, plus, now see, we're subtracting this whole thing, so I want to make sure that the subtraction is subtracting the entire thing, okay? So 3y, so it's going to be the derivative of the first times the second plus the derivative of the second, which is dy dx times the first, which is 3x, equals 0. Right? The derivative of 0 is 0. Okay, now let's simplify this and collect all the dy dx terms. Okay, so this is going to be 3y squared dy dx plus 3x squared minus 3y minus 3x dy dx equals 0. And so now I'm going to collect the terms with dy dx in it. So it's going to be 3y squared dy dx minus 3x dy dx. Now these two terms I'm going to put over on the other side of the equals. So I'm going to subtract this one and add this one. So it'll be 3y minus 3x squared. Okay, now I'm going to factor out the dy dx. Y squared minus 3x equals 3y minus 3x squared. And now I'm going to divide both sides by this expression here. And so what do I get when I do that? I get dy dx is equal to 3y minus 3x squared divided by 3y squared minus 3x. Now, that's where I'm finished. Now, at this point, I still need the slope, so this is m. So m equals, now it's at the point 3 halves comma 3 halves, so x is 3 halves, so I'm going to put in 3 halves for x and for y, since x equals y here. So this is going to be 3 times 3 halves minus 3 times 3 halves squared divided by 3 times 3 halves squared minus 3 times 3 halves. So a lot of things going on here. Okay, so now let's simplify this. Okay, so what do we do? What do we get? Well, we're going to get 9 halves minus 27 halves at the top, right? Because this is, so this is going to give us what? 9 halves minus 9 halves, or no, not 9 halves, 27 halves. So it's going to give us 9 halves minus 27 halves on top, and it's going to give me 27 halves minus 9 halves on the bottom. Now the cool thing is if I factor out a negative from either the top or the bottom, it's going to flip the order of the subtraction. So the interesting thing is this is going to give me a -1. Because if I factor out a -1 on the top, I'm going to get 27 halves minus 9 halves on top, which is the same as what I get in the bottom. So I'm going to get -1. So the slope turns out to be -1. And so now I get what? Y. So since the slope is -1, now I'm going to write my equation of the tangent line. And so it's going to be 3 halves equals -1 times 3 halves plus b. And now watch what happens. Now I get 3 halves equals -3 halves plus b. So what is b going to equal? Well, b is going to equal 6 halves or 3. So there you go. I got my equation of the line. It's y equals -x plus 3. And I'm done. Have a great day.